If in physics, the most exciting idea of quantum immortality is true, you may not be able to kill, impossible to erase. To test this idea, we'll put a nuclear bomb in your living room, but we'll drop it later. This is around the most successful theory in physics, real science. To understand why, we need to tell you a story. This story is about the universe, the smallest part of an atom, and basic examples. Intuitive explanations of everyday affairs are reasonable. If you apply the same force and angle, kick a marble 10 times, he always ends up in the same place. But if you do it in the exact same way, kick an electron 10 times, he will appear in different places. At the most fundamental level of reality, randomness is the rule. The theory that answers this question is called quantum mechanics. So, in a nutshell, he is as follows. Particles like electrons, not like a tiny marble, and like a shapeshifter, a dispersed substance. We call them waves. It will grow, but even stranger. It is not a wave of matter or energy. It's a wave of probability, an immaterial essence, actually between 0% and 100%. What does that really mean? Quantum mechanics doesn't really tell us too much knowledge about electronics. He only told us the average of this entity we call the electron behavior. Imagine you shoot an electric gun at your apartment. You shot 100 times. Electronics have appeared in your living room 80 times, 20 times in your kitchen. So the probability wave of our electron, 80% in the living room. The probability of being in the kitchen is 20%. It's very frustrating, this theory of probability waves, and it's been remarkably effective in practice. This is not just a fantasy on paper. Scientists have verified it in countless experiments. He works every time. He explained how many real things work, from information through microchips, atomic cataclysm delivered to the center of a star. But how can this story be explained? All other science stories, all depicted for us. The picture of the things they describe. Iron ball in the center of the Earth. Elastic spatial structure. But what about probability waves? What is he supposed to look like? Quantum mechanics didn't tell us anything about the electron itself. What is he like? How does he exercise? Or what his taste is? But if our reason, the thing did not describe the electron itself. And what did he describe? And how he made you immortal? What is the quantum story really about? Scientists have debated a story about this. They came up with a million ideas. We can't list it here, but there are two prevailing schools of thought. We call them respectively linguist and literary critic. They are fighting for the true meaning of the quantum story. Quarrel. The position of linguists is to shut up calculating. They basically claim quantum mechanics. It's not a story about reality. It's just a grammar of the cosmological language. In this language, we can predict the outcome. That was all. If there is no story, follow up on the description of electrons in the story. It's meaningless. Are electrons marbles or clouds? Do you want to call Hebo or Detective Pikachu? Misses the point. Quantum mechanics doesn't let you imagine any electron. All you can do is experiment. And physics is experimentation, instead of creating mental images for us. So shut up. Stop fantasizing about fairy tales. Only use probability waves to calculate. Follow grammar. Ignore plot. No, the literary critic screamed. There is a hidden meaning between the lines. They're multi-cosmopolitans. Believe in quantum mechanics. It's a story about reality. They wanted to tell the story. By the way, the many worlds power of quantum mechanics. Unlike the multiverse. The multiverse is a completely different puzzle. We'll talk about it next time. Many worlds argue that the universe is an infinitely complex quantum state. All physically possible outcomes coexist simultaneously. If you take the probability wave of the electron in the living room, and the kitchen is split 80% to 20%, this means that electrons break apart in a similar way. Electronics has 5 versions. 4 of them went into the living room. 1 went to the kitchen. But it's not just electrons that are splitting. You're also looking at electrons. So you also have 5 versions. 4 of them saw electrons in the living room. 1 sees electronics in the kitchen. Each different version of you and electronics. Then is equally true. It's equally true. They're all in your house right now. But they couldn't communicate. We can't interact in any way. So they're completely invisible to each other. This means that experience only one thing, or see electrons in the living room, or see electronics in the kitchen. The multiple worlds mean all physically possible worlds. Both coexist here at the same time, now but independent of each other. They're like branches, and there are plenty of them. Every possible quantum process means there are other possible worlds. A radioactive atom decays. Where he has not decayed, there's another world. Cosmic rays hit one of your cells, where the ray just passed through. There's another world. Countless seconds. Countless new worlds exist on top of each other. Shouted assistant linguists. If these worlds can't interact, we can't test them. Does it exist? This is not science. So shut up and do the math. Wait, there's a way to find out. But to do this, you have to die hundreds of times. Maybe prove that you are immortal. Ultimate experiment. We only need 2 electron detectors attached to a nuclear bomb in your living room. If the detector in the living room is activated, the bomb will explode. If the detector in the kitchen is activated, you are safe. Sitting on a nuke now. Let your brave assistant fire the electron gun. Well, there are 2 scenarios. 20% chance an electron lands in the kitchen. You survived. 80% of the time an electron lands in the kitchen. Good launch. You are so lucky. Electrons are left in the kitchen. Try again. Try again. 100 more times. If there were only one universe, you will die soon. Electrons will soon detonate nuclear bombs. You will be instantly vaporized. But if the many worlds theory is correct, then every time your assistant shoots, there will be 5 versions of you. 4 of them will die instantly. There is only one version of you that is still alive. And there's only one thing you can do to survive. It doesn't matter how many times you try. From your perspective, you survive every time. At first it seemed like luck. But at some point, your luck will become almost impossible. In a universe with only one reality, your chances of surviving 100 times in a row, it's about 1/10 of a trillion. This is followed by 70 zeros. So if you do 100 experiments, you are still alive. The universe is just quietly confiding in you, his deepest secret. Yes, you've killed hundreds of versions of yourself. But you are now convinced that the many worlds theory is true. Because you are still experiencing everything here. And you're practically immortal. Okay, this can all be a little overwhelming. Let's break down the secrets of the universe again. All possible quantum processes are always in some component happening. Then this not only means almost, but there aren't infinite versions of you. And there will always be one. You will be very lucky. A tumor starts to grow, but cosmic rays kill it before it spreads. A bolt of lightning strikes you, but a quantum fluke let him pass you by. Just 1 meter away, a washing machine fell off the roof, but all his atoms are pierced through quantum spikes. Through your body, no matter how likely you are to die, there is always a branch that can keep you alive. So should you start a flight today? Well, don't worry. For every one of you who survived, there are countless versions that have not survived. And all these versions of you, both are now. You are as real as watching this video. So if you care about who you are now, you should care as much. All the selves waiting to appear, and their loved ones. In other words, if you see the washing machine collapse, it is best to move away as much as possible to save your version. The more universes you have, the better. Your presence will make the universe more colorful. There's another good reason to move. Although the multiple world interpretation of quantum mechanics, it sounds graceful. But that doesn't mean he's the truth. We don't know if he's right. And so far, no literary critic has ever been willing to risk being wrong. If the shut-up calculator is right, then there is only one world. There is only one version of you. If the washing machine hits you, you're done. But isn't that nice to know? If the multiple worlds theory is correct, then no matter how unfortunate you are, you always know that somewhere you are lucky. Quantum mechanics is an exploration of different, the magic tool of reality. But what about this reality?